Hello and welcome to Sports Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe, right here in Lagos. Okay, I think you'll join me much later. I think it's back in London from all the drama that happened in Casablanca, Marrakech, Rabat. Was a whole lot at the Africa Cup of Nations. Of course, on the show today, we'll be doing a wrap-up of what went down at the Africa Cup of Nations from Super Eagles performance, and of course, two Teranga Lions of Senegal actually are celebrating in Dakar. So much celebrations, tens of thousands of people are on the streets of Dakar celebrating two-time African champions. Yes, the first time they won was back in 2021, and right now 2022, and right now Senegal are celebrating another title, a second for that country after beating host nation Morocco. Yes, celebrations continue in Dakar. We'll talk about that on the show tonight. Of course, we'll take a look at the NPFL games that went down at the weekend, and of course, we'll talk about the NWFL, that's Nigerian Women's Premier Football League games that will be going down on Wednesday across the country. It's match day 7 and updates from the Champions League. Yes, and Manchester City, they were soundly beaten. I'm trying to look for an adjective to describe that. Soundly beaten by Bodo Glimt. 3-1. Rodri actually getting a card in that one. So Man City are in a precarious situation. They may not make it in the top 8. They'll have to play the playoff. Maybe that's not what they want to do, but then that's currently what is happening. So they need to win their last game to finish top 8 and get into the next round automatically, or else they'll have to go into the playoffs. Yes, we'll talk about that on the show tonight. Of course, we're starting off with AFCON, and it's a Tuesday. Once it's a Tuesday, you know who is in the studio. Kende Idris is right here for us to wrap up the Africa Cup of Nations, everything that went down, from the dramas, from the statistics, because this happens to be one of the best Africa Cup of Nations we've ever had. All the drama, everything you can think of, negatively, positively, we got all that.
We got all that, Cecilia. It's good to be here, and it's a happy new year. First time we're being together this year. And when I was in school, we talk about script writing. Sometimes you read some script and you're thinking, where is this person's head when they were writing this script? I think that's the story of the AFCON. If it were to be a script that was written in this manner, people will be asking, where is this person's head when he or she was writing? It was massive. It had intrigue, suspense, comedy, a high level of action, everything that you can think of that makes a blockbuster, a super story. That's the story of the AFCON. Selling it to the outside world, the outside world already, bought it, to a very high level, barring whatever happened in the final or whatever happened in some games. I think the Nigerian game also comes to mind, but the AFCON gave us everything. And this is what top tournaments are. Yes, you can see some parts that are a bit, not clear, gray areas, but this is a tournament that you can, if somebody is asking you of African football, you can just say, let me show you the highlight of AFCON 2025 Morocco hosted. Yeah,
Morocco hosted, yes. Toby Manuel is joining us from Canada. He will also be doing, in-depth analysis of what went down in Morocco, the Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco 2025. Where Senegal emerged champions for the second time on the continent. Toby, you ready to join us?
Yeah, it was a great tournament. Like he has rightly put it, it's a drama. The intricacies, the lot of challenges, the fans, the officiating, different things. Even the reportage, media gave us a very good coverage of the tournament, and unfortunately, those little issues that happened in the final, I can't take away the good quality football that was played in the competition. It was a great tournament.
Yeah, it was a great tournament indeed. We can't take it away from the competition. Well, we'll be taking a look at this report from Austin Okonakma, assessing the Africa Cup of Nations, a special report on it, the views of journalists and, of course, fans who went there to actually watch the Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025.
it's a wrap on the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations right here in Morocco. How did Morocco perform with organizing this competition? Was the football good? Administratively, how did the Confederation of African Football perform? I spoke to some sports analysts and they gave their honest assessments. Let's check them out.
8 over 10 AFCON, in my opinion. A few niggles here and there, but they're expected in the tournament. Morocco gave us, all things considered, an AFCON that Africa would struggle to match in a lot of senses. You know, this is my 8th. I cannot remember. In fact, there is no AFCON I have covered where it took me only 10 minutes to get through, or 15 minutes maximum, to get through security from the road to the media center. It's never happened before. You know, they prioritized movement, swiftness, and yeah, they all got their A game on. It's a pity they couldn't be crowned with all their efforts, money, and whatever with a trophy. But you know that's how it is. They have to try again sometime.
The refereeing has been a bit awful. I think if you allow that penalty, you should have also allowed Senegal's goal. They didn't allow the VAR to review at all. They just continued play. But when it was Morocco's turn, they went to VAR and awarded a penalty. That's not a good thing. And for such a beautiful tournament, that could have taken the shine off such a final and such a host, by such a tournament Morocco has hosted.
I think about the referees, of course, that's sure, because so many games and so many teams talk about the referees. So I think it's a problem. They have to improve. They have to change many things, and also with the tickets. You know, on so many games, you cannot find tickets for the game, and after that you see the stadium not full, is sometimes 20-30%, and we don't understand. For example, we have many fans from Algeria or other teams. They didn't find tickets, and when they come in the stadium, they see a free stadium. I think the AFCON has to change that, has to improve with the referees, and it will be maybe perfect.
I would say it's pretty awesome, to be honest. Aside from the game against Nigeria and everything, that just made me lose hope and everything. But to be honest, the hospitality is 100. They are so friendly, they are so nice. I don't know if it's because of football or something, but my experience with them has been so awesome. The hospitality, the organization, and it's beautiful, to be honest. I would give them this one. Morocco, you guys are the best, to be honest, and I will give you guys this one. How are you?
Some good areas of improvement have been identified for the Confederation of African Football. I thought Morocco did a good job with this AFCON, but definitely we can improve. Next stop is Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Is in 2027. It's just around the corner. So Africa must get to work, because our football is a good way of showcasing the continent to the world. Austin Okonakwam, Channels Television News, Rabat.
Yeah, you know, so many people having different opinions. So I'm talking about the referees, that's where they need to work on. And of course, ticket sales. Some fans of some countries can get access to watch their team play. That actually played a major role, especially in that semi-final between Nigeria and Morocco. So these are some of the experts, these journalists, and of course, mentioned. Toby, you watch the AFCON, you monitor it from the beginning till the end. What are the areas you think CAF can actually improve on before we take a look at the statistics coming from the tournament?
Okay, like Austin's reports actually put it out clearly. My first AFCON was in 2006 in Egypt. I was in Port Said with the Super Eagles. We saw how organized they were, and ticketing, and it was easy for you to purchase tickets, despite the fact that we had most of the stadium being filled up by the Egyptians. So also Moroccans, we saw a few stadiums being filled up, but some of the stadia during the group games, it didn't look like it's AFCON. The last AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, virtually all the stadiums were filled up. So that's something they need to work on as CAF. Then secondly, the most critical issue, you can't prepare a very good food, you can't prepare a very good accommodation, you can't prepare a very good hospitality and spoil it with just one thing. Officiating was poor. Whether you want to accept it or not, officiating, and I don't know at this rate football have developed that we are not even using VAR technology effectively. Now, that is the issue, the critical issue. And the international media are watching. You want me to leave my best player, release my best player to go play tournaments for your club, for their country. So let's say Arsenal released 3 of their 4 players. Everton released 3-4 players. Man U released their best player. They now go to the AFCON and they get poor officiating. Those players will not be inspired to want to come and play again for their country, or to come because they know no matter how the effort you put into it, officiating will be determined.
Toby, don't you think this is just a Toby? In that aspect, don't you think it's just a one-off? Because we saw what happened in Cote d'Ivoire to the extent that you have so many pundits from the EPL, that's the English Premier League, talking about the fact that the VAR officials from England need to come to Africa and learn how to actually use it. We saw that in Cote d'Ivoire. That was the fallout from that. Don't you think this is just a one-off? You can't categorize. You had maybe officiating in some games, and then you just tie it around the whole continent.
Okay. You are right, but I will maybe let me stay with officiating against the host country. We've seen Cameroon against Morocco. We saw how the game went, and Samuel Eto'o had 4 matches banned for that. We saw the game against Nigeria. We saw how the officiating went, and we saw the game against the final. So there is a general conspiracy that the Confederation of African Football allegedly wants Morocco to win the tournament, and it's just not a good sport for the African football.
Yeah, obviously not a good one. Just to wrap this one for me, Kende, I mean, your overall assessment of the Africa Cup of Nations.
I think firstly, from where Toby stopped, it might not be a case of the Confederation of Africa, trying to help Morocco. If you follow our club football, North African clubs, but majorly Morocco, that is why you found that there is a beef between Algerian, nationals supporting Nigeria during Morocco match, because during football, club football, you find Morocco, clubs playing all of the gimmicks, and then a video surfaced where what's his name, Pitso Mosimane was talking about Wydad Casablanca. If they kick you, kick them. If they shout at you, shout at them. Moroccan clubs, Moroccan officials knows how to bully everybody. I think it's like a Morocco thing. They know how to use everything to win a football game. But let's go to the entire competition.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was a beautiful competition. I think officiating, this is a case of you're going by average. If you take out the host nation, I think officiating wasn't bad. VAR was well used and all of that. The only place we've seen it is the worry, But one thing that I want to kudos in this AFCON is the fact that African football stars really turned up, and they turned up well. This is a case where you say they showed up and they showed off. It was every game the better team went ahead. There is no shocker at this AFCON. Everybody loves the underdog story. But every top team who had top guys, like Nigeria has former African Footballer of the Year 2024, former African Footballer 2023, Ademola Lookman, Victor Osimhen. When they play teams who do not have such quality, they were beaten. When they play teams who were sloppy, they were beaten. When you had South Africa play Cameroon, you need to watch that game. The better team went ahead. That was what this AFCON gave. And that was why heads were turned. That's why I went back to, barring whatever happened in the final, this AFCON really helped African football get some recognition. I heard Raul Ferdinand. I heard a lot of, former footballers, pundits, assessors talk about this AFCON and giving it thumbs up.
All right.
So it was a fantastic tournament. We can do better. But we've also seen in tournaments all around the world where there are so many gray areas, but the very less talked about. I think Africans, we should also start talking about our stories in the positive.
Yeah.
Let us act like we didn't even see what happened in the final. Let the outside world talk about it.
It isn't happening. Kuwait and France.
Exactly.
I was going through a lot. I mean, I had to go through a lot of matches where, you know, these teams had to walk off.
We saw a chairman brought out a gun in Turkish football.
1982 World Cup.
Yeah.
This is a World Cup. I mean, during the 1982 World Cup, Kuwait were 3-1 down. Then France were looking for a 4th one to put the game to the bed. Then a whistle rang out from the crowd. We always witness that anytime you're watching a game. And then what happened? When the whistle went down, so the players paused. But France on their own scored the goal. And suffice to say that the Kuwait FA president, Prince Fahid, was not happy. He asked the players to leave the field, refusing to allow them to return until that goal was chalked off. So that happened. There is the one between Lille and Manchester United. There's AZ Akma and Ajax. There's so many like that. Burnley and Blackburn Rovers. There's so many instances we've seen over the years. So it is not just in Africa, because I've seen so many posts of people talking about, oh, this is African football. No, this is not African football. It doesn't represent African football. It is what happens when the opposition team actually agreed of certain decisions made by referees. And of course, I love what Sadio Mane did, had to call the players out to continue play. So that did not negate anything when it comes to this particular Africa Cup of Nations. There are stories flying around of CAF banning the coach, Papa Theo, indefinitely. I don't know where they got that from. CAF hasn't made a release from concerning that. We're also hearing stories of Senegal being fined $300,000. CAF hasn't made anything concerning that. But there's so many stories flying around. Just try as much as possible to confirm your story before you start selling content and stories that are not true out there. Austin's going to join us briefly, but that's after we'll take a look at the statistics coming from the game and also the winners. We're starting off with the Golden Boot winner, Brahim Diaz, who had to play Paneka when his team were, you know, trying to win their first AFCON in 50 years. He literally dashed the hope of the thousands of fans that were at that stadium. But he ended up with the Golden Boot. He scored 5 goals at the Africa Cup of Nations, and so that's why he got this. Brahim Diaz, who played for Real Madrid. And for the goalkeeper of the tournament, no doubt, Yassine Bono, he actually kept the Moroccans in the game or against Senegal because he made some fantastic saves, and that's why they were able to remain in the tournament up to the final. And of course, most valuable player of the tournament, there was no doubt about this, on Sadio Mane played every minute of the game from the group stage up to the final, and of course he orchestrated most of the moves that were made and even scoring goals for his country. It's the second time he's winning the Africa Cup of Nations for his country. Now, Fair Play Award, and people started asking me questions. What's the meaning of Fair Play Award? And the Fair Play Award simply means the team that considered the lowest numbers of yellow cards, and that's why you have Morocco here. Were they fair on the field of play? You can ask CAF that question, not me. All right, for the champions, yes, this is the prize money, $10 million. So whatever amount that a CAF may find Senegal at the end of the day, they should be able to use part of this money to pay the fine. The winner, 10 million. That's the amount. And for Morocco runner-up, the difference is so much. They're going home with they'll stay in Morocco with $4 million. And of course, third place for Nigeria is $2.5 million. That's what the Super Eagles are bringing to Nigeria. And Egypt, going back to carry $1.3 million. So this is the breakdown of the prize money and winners for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. The breakdown for you. Austin Okonakma is joining me from London or Casablanca. I think he's back in London. Austin?
It's to you, Cecilia, and of course our viewers joining us from all over the world. Yeah, I'm back in London. It's good to be back home, you know, after covering the 35th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. And gracious goodness, I would have felt so bad if I had missed out on that drama. You guys have been trying to talk about it, but trust me, it's nothing compared to what it is if you were there live in the stadium. Your eyes will just be going like this, like, what is going on? Drama here, drama there, drama everywhere on that final day, you know. Even after everything is said and done, post-match conference, more drama. Moroccan journalists and Senegalese journalists, they almost turned the thing into a boxing spectacle for us, you know. Football is crazy with all of its passion. Yeah, that said, I agree with you guys that we had a beautiful AFCON, but, you know, our job is to balance things up. When it's good, we say it. When it's not, we also say it. We're equal on all sides. So Morocco did so well, and that's what my report was trying to highlight. Infrastructure, fantastic. And I didn't like the way this thing ended because they're actually hospitable. They're nice people. When they see you, they want to talk to you. They want to help you.
Not on the field of play.
But when the football started going, like they beat Nigeria, so they love Nigeria.
I think we need to go on a break. When we come back from this break, you're going to tell us more about what happened, because you saw everything that happened in Rabat, because that final, a lot of drama behind the scenes. You tell us that after we go on the break. While we're on the break, our Sport Tonight will continue on all other platforms, but DSTV platform will be having Inside the Niger Delta with Mahmoud Akoga. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Austin was giving us a breakdown behind the scene, especially the drama at the press conference. We saw a lot of videos. We saw Swat Chappelle. Actually, I can feel that energy from her, because we're in Morocco together at AFCON. That's another story. We witnessed some of it. I think it's Austin. I think it was just like accumulation of what she saw earlier in the year, and of course seeing another one again happening with the Moroccan journalists who are really not friendly when their teams are losing. You talk about hospitality, yes, 100% give that to them, but that's outside the field of play. But on the field of play, I think that's what they really need to work on. Football is we say football unifies. It brings people together. It's not do or die. There is nothing to fight about. Morocco have a very, very solid team. Remember when we started the countdown to the Africa Cup of Nations, we established here that with the kind of form they're on, just give them the trophy already. 55 goals they scored coming into the AFCON. Not just 55 goals, they were unbeaten. When I mean unbeaten, they were on a winning streak, the best in the world. They have the record right now. 18 games. They won 18 games going into AFCON, considered just 6 goals. So they had that going into AFCON. What happened getting into AFCON? Was it that we have to win this by hook or by crook, and then you forget the essence of the football itself?
That's Cecilia, I always say it on this show that tournament football, has a different spirit compared to, when you're having those marathons like World Cup qualifiers or getting into friendly matches and all. But when you get into a tournament, some teams just say, okay, so win 6 matches, you're in the final. So it got really tough for Morocco, because we're forgetting that, yes, they have those numbers supporting them inside that stadium in Rabat, but that's also pressure. We are forgetting that that's serious pressure that they have to deal with. That noise, that the expectation from the fans. Look at how they suffered against Tanzania. Tanzania, that had just 2 points to get into the round of 16, made Morocco to sweat, to work. That's tournament football for you. I still like this team. I like what Coach Walid has done with this team. I think they've done well for not just themselves, but Africa, right from what they did at the World Cup in 2022 in Qatar. And check, they kept the bulk of that team. They kept getting better. But everything that has happened at this World Cup, that now makes people feel, that CAF wanted, the host to win. The referees too. Cecilia, even me as a journalist sitting inside that Prince Moulay Abdullah Stadium in Rabat, I keep saying, after this match, I can't go out with this crowd. I cannot go out. That was what Swore was trying to say, that we couldn't go out to get fans' reports. Even as yesterday till this morning, if they see on the streets of Rabat, they say, Senegal, I have to wear my face cap and hang my Nigerian flag on it so that they will know that I'm a Nigerian. So that pressure coming from different angles, because these guys, they just want to win the AFCON. They wanted to win the AFCON. Cecilia, you and your women went there, you sponsor the party for them. Their men now got to the final. Senegal came from nowhere, stunned them, So I think what we need to do more in Africa is fans education. That's what I've been saying, that WACAF, I know, we punish Senegal. We need to do so much to educate the fans. Let them understand
Austin, is it about, the thing is that, why I wouldn't really agree about this? this is not an African thing. This is a Moroccan thing. People have gone to Senegal. Senegal went to Cameroon to win their first championship. They beat Egypt in the final. In fact, we saw what you were in Côte d'Ivoire. The stadium was filled up every time. I don't want to talk about women's football because we've seen how, you know, in front of Paul Biya, we had, I don't know what they call the security guys that were around. Thousands of them at the stadium. Falcons beat Cameroon in front of their president, and nothing happened. And we didn't have wish-wash officiating or anything. I think this is not an African thing. I think this is a Moroccan. This is a Moroccan thing.
It was a
really.
test match.
Yeah.
When it is the host team playing the final, it's test. I even remember that AFCON in 2021, the third place match. Burkina Faso, they kept on complaining about the officiating. Remember Cameroon, I think, was down 3-0 or something, and they came back and then went on to win it. And Burkina Faso, they were crying. Is it because they wanted Cameroon to just win something?
The point I'm trying to establish something here. It wasn't this bad, right? It wasn't. We've seen it over time. You know, we established at the beginning of the show that when we saw what happened in Côte d'Ivoire, the people, pundits started saying that people need to come to Africa to learn how to use VAR because of how transparent that was.
It was good. It was good. I
So
will not lie.
maybe I don't want to use the Arab nation or anything. Maybe, just maybe, the Moroccan fans need to understand that. Because if you see countries that have won the Nations Cup, there is a build-up. When was the last time Morocco were in the final of the Africa Cup of Nations? 21 years ago. So they don't know what it means to even get to the final. For your team to get to the final, that is even a plus for you. So I think just maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, maybe CAF actually need to educate the Moroccan fans, really, because they are the ones right now that are acting as if them hosting is a bet right for them to win. Toby, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's what I actually wanted to say. Both of you are right, but the Moroccans and CAF needs to because the way CAF is packaging Morocco is making Morocco to look as if Morocco is the Mecca of African football. And that affects their fans' mentality to feel that it is their birthright, even when things don't go their way. Like I said, my first AFCON, I was in Egypt. We saw how the Egyptian, I've covered several AFCONs. We see how the host nation, even when they lose, there is a way they will always embrace, celebrate. But the Moroccans of recent, things have been put in a perspective to look, even if they don't mean that what they are selling outside, it look as if it's their birthright. And unfortunately, if you see their questionable match cause in their game, okay, what happened? Austin, what happened? Why should the fans or the ball boys be taking the goalkeeper's towel? Why should some of the fans be hostile to the football? Is a game of fair play, love, equity, and respect. So the fans' education is not limited, like we said in the early beginning of the program. It's not limited to African football alone. We see in South America, in North America, fans can be very violent and everything. So what we are preaching and educating or soliciting for, encourage everybody is that we should play, let the game of football rule and not all these other distractions.
I don't know if I can. I was in Côte d'Ivoire for the final. Like, you know, I went to cover that tournament. I think fans' education should go around. Côte d'Ivoire fans were also very hostile. I listened to market women who are Nigerians. The next day, I went and, got their interviews. They said, thank God the Super Eagles didn't win. That yes, that I should ask around, why aren't there so many Ghanaians in Côte d'Ivoire? They played a World Cup qualifier and Ghanaians took the ticket off them right there in Côte d'Ivoire. Ghanaians who were in Côte d'Ivoire then suffered. I think there is this thing about fans, especially the more you progress in the tournament, the expectation rises higher and higher. And the way you get to the final, you're the host nation, you feel like this is my father's home. I should get everything on my side. Players might not be so much on that level, coaches.
Are you sure? Fans, you saw Hakimi, right?
That's what I'm saying. I said it might not be so much, but you see it with the fans. And during the halftime, Nigeria was leading 1-0. We needed to go get, there is always meal. We needed to go get our meal. The moment we got out of the stadium, going to where the tents are, me and the Nigerian journalist who came out, we ran back. because we saw the hostility even from Cote d'Ivoire journalists. So I'm telling you, it's a thing of continual education.
Okay.
I think the expectation rises and makes people forget the main aim of football. Thank you to Nigerians. Do you know that for every time we host, even some Nigerians feel we are too lenient. We allow things just roll by. Go to Niger 2000, you go to different tournaments, and you even hear of Nigerians being cheated, even in their home with officiating. But Nigerians, probably we had early education.
I think we understand what football
what
means,
it is.
Austin.
So we just, okay, fine, it has happened.
Austin, do you think maybe people actually need to come to Nigeria to learn on how, to embrace what football really is, the culture of football? Because that's what we practice here. I'm proud to say that.
I think at some point we also got, we accepted the fact that we would not just be winning. It got to a point that when the Super Eagles are playing, we take any results. So
it's not our best right.
You can't put a man who's on the ground. So, but that did a lot of good for us. And part of the backstory, just to elaborate on some of the things that you guys have talked about, the towels that the stewards were taking. I just don't get that angle also because of the talks about, it could be voodoo, it could be this, it could be that. But I want to commend the Super Eagles, their backroom staff. Senegalese couldn't take it right from the start of the drama started when they said they should go and train at that stadium. They had cameras that they said, no way. So you can see our tactical sessions and everything. We're not going there. And they released a strong statement, on that refusal, saying that CAF, we're not going to allow you to be doing this. And then they came into the stadium, and you saw how the reserve goalkeeper went to stand behind the goalpost to say, you can't take our towel. Stanley Wabali, the bench, we were seeing all those things. Nobody can go and stand up. They threw a banana. That one, I'm so mad. I'm so pissed. That was enough reason for us to also say, CAF, look at everything these people did. We are not playing this match. But I think we understand that the game is fair play. We understand that, in the spirit of sportsmanship, these fans can misbehave. It doesn't mean that Hakimi is bad. It doesn't make Brian Diaz a bad person. It doesn't make Yasin Bono a bad person. It's just fans and the shenanigans that they bring into the game. See Senegal, protesting. They did all the antics. The thing got into the head of Brian Diaz. He went to give Mendy the ball. As soon as Mendy caught it, everything got fine. Senegalese started singing and dancing again. You see what I'm saying? So they just wanted to cause that disruption. It's all mind games that these fans bring into it. I'm just saying, thank goodness that there was no violence. We didn't hear that, though it was so close, we didn't hear that anybody, got into a critical state. That's what I'm saying, that fans' education. I want to agree with Kende Idris. I've been saying it. I shout it every day for the MPFL. I see it a lot in the English Premier League when Liverpool is coming up. 2 weeks before that match, everywhere in the media, they're already telling people how to behave themselves. It's the Merseyside derby. You don't have to die. Football is not win at all costs. It doesn't end. That's what we should be doing in Africa, even the media. Because if you see the media, they couldn't just stay neutral. If not, what we saw at the post-match conference would have happened. But because everybody is carrying this thing like our lives depend on it. Yes, football is big. It's massive. I love that the passion is growing on the continent, but we cannot use it negatively. Football can change lives. We can use it to make this world a better place. And I think Africa should tap into that objective.
Yeah, obviously. And the whole world can also tap into it. I remember, I think it was Euros that England lost in the final. The fans actually vandalized the stadium. I remember that I was watching on TV. So there's so many Austrians. That's
you remember what they did to Saka for missing a penalty at the Euros?
So it's all over. So let's not tie this to Africa. Let's educate everyone. So the criticism of Senegal should stop. I mean, it happens. When Lille walk off the pitch, it took them time to come back. When Ryan Giggs scored that free kick, when he trying to set up the wall. And earlier, Sazal Demigay, because remember, the reason why this is stuck in that 2007 Champions League, simply because Sazal Demigay's goal was disallowed controversially before that happened. And then they walk off the field. It took a long time before they came back to finish the game. So it happens. And so when I felt when the banana was thrown at Stanley Wambali, I mean, just bring it out and you have the right to walk out of the pitch, because that's the rule right now. When there's any form of racism, you can walk out. I mean, we should have done that. Maybe if we come back, maybe Moroccans will destabilize. Maybe we could have won the game. Maybe we end up being champions. That's just me talking. Senegal, Austin, you would have wanted that. Senegalese, let's talk about Senegalese, Austin. What are you going to say? The celebrations in Dakar in Senegal, tens of thousands of fans lining the streets, to actually welcome them. Is the bus parade to celebrate that triumphant, for you to beat the host nation that was very hostile, despite all the things that happened. Players and coaches brandished that trophy from an open top bus. This happened in the capital. So all the players traveling all through downtown, of course, is their second title since they won that in 2022. And interestingly, it's the third time, the third final Senegal is actually playing in 4 editions. So they are always here. They have the experience. So the Moroccans shouldn't cry whatever controversy they are trying to pursue. Because what we are hearing is the fact that the Moroccan Federation have actually, sent a worded message to CAF concerning what happened against Senegal. Austin, we're going to say something before we leave here and quickly take a look at lessons from here. Austin?
I think this is really good, for football in Africa, particularly what Senegal did. I always say that we should always look beyond the result. There was a fight in there for Senegal, to go all the way, and that's the reward for hard work. It's more hard work. So congratulations to the Teranga Lions. Let's wait for CAF to see how they're going to, handle this. After the action comes the reaction. So more things for us to talk about as media persons. But let's just hope that there will be proper lessons for Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
Oh, proper lessons for them. Let's quickly take a listen to Sheudiko, the National Sports Commission chairman, talking about the lessons, that they learned from the Africa Cup of Nations, the gains for the Super Eagles, and of course, what they are looking forward to, especially in terms of facilities.
The disappointment of missing out to go into the final. It has been a very, very brilliant AFCON. Everybody can see the progress. Everybody can see the way we have gone. Played 7 matches, didn't lose anyone. Scored so many goals, didn't concede any goal from the knockout stages. So at the end of the day, we came third. And at times, the way football is, you feel good to have the third place and maybe to have the second place at times. Because after the disappointment of the semi-final, at least you can play to win something, which now will bring back the happiness. If you go to the final and lose, you live with the bitterness for forever. So sometimes it is what it is, but at least we are very, very happy. We are very excited. We have seen progress, so now it's to be consistent and to continue on this trajectory. And I'm sure our team will be great again. Quite pleased to see some of the biggest critics of Nigerian football saying that this is the best Super Eagles in the last 20 years. So it shows that something is going in the right direction. Since Eric Shell came on board, it is a commission that has been paying his salaries. So of course, we are definitely anybody who loves Nigerian football, who's seen the trajectory we are going, we should be able to keep Eric Shell and be able to give him more time so that we can prepare more. Probably we can have another glorious era for Nigerian football. Nigeria was the first country in Africa to sign a memorandum of understanding with Morocco in 2016. I was part of it. I was the one that did the agreement when I was in NFF. Myself, Amadou Pinnick and Co. Trying to follow what they are doing. And the biggest lesson is to see the kind of infrastructures they have all over the country, the kind of investment the central government is doing across the country, both on the elite sporting facilities and also in the community sporting facilities. So we have to be doing that. We have to make sure that we convince our authorities in Nigeria to be more intentional and more deliberate. Although we are also doing our own bit of that, but we need more support. We need more investment. First and foremost is the infrastructure, and then investment in also the sport itself. And then you can see everything coming together. You can see how the country have been turned all around. So that's the biggest lesson that we have learned here. Now, when they started this investment, people think that Morocco are just wasting money or they're greedy, but now see how it has come about. The kind of contribution to the economy that this AFCON and WAFCON and all the tournaments they are hosting is bringing to the country, the kind of economic advancement can never be overemphasized. So we have to continue in that direction.
Diko talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria, their performance in Morocco, and of course the fact that they're keeping coach Eric Chell. So those people thinking he may not, because his target was to get to the final, he may be asked to go. So coming from them, they are the ones paying his salary. So he's staying for, foreseeable future. And also, let me throw this to Toby quickly. A quick one on this one, because we really need to wrap up AFCON. Toby, you heard from Diko talking about in 2016, they signed an MOU with Morocco. I'm like, what was the result from that? Because since then, I can't count the numbers of stadiums that Morocco have built. They've even won, they've been to the semi-final of the World Cup and also won the Under-20 World Cup. And they're developing facilities. And I've not seen one in Nigeria since that time.
I listened to his interview. No doubt, the National Sports Commission coming on board now. You know, from the past, we have sport ministry. And we don't have a blueprint for our sports. For the first time, we're having a blueprint. So I can excuse the Sports Commission because we have different ministers bringing different agenda and different governments bringing different government ruling party bringing different agenda for sports. We've seen in the past to just pick somebody and to just dump them as a minister of sports. But now we're having technocrats. One thing I will say, Nigeria bidded for the Commonwealth game. Why can't we use that resources since we lost? Can't we host AFCON? We should be able to host AFCON again with all those resources. And quickly, like Austin said, and you two, we all alluded, Nigerians are good fans. Nigerians are good fans all over the world. And that was why, at the time, Nigeria was like the hub of Confederation of African Football. When they have country to host tournament, they will always bring it to Nigeria. So we can still regain our lost glory. And congratulations, at least if the National Sports Commission wants to keep the coach, that's a good one because we can win the next AFCON if we keep this team together.
Yeah, we can win it. So we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight on the show.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Just a quick one on. Do I need to ask you? No, we'll leave it. We'll leave it.
Don't even ask me. You already know my stand.
Okay. Austin did that interview with Diko right here in Morocco, so there's no point asking him his reaction because he understands it, right, Austin, in terms of facilities, right?
So let's Cecilia, we need to keep talking about it, okay. And that was why I asked Diko. It's not for us to just come here and see what these guys are doing, and then we don't take any lessons back home. I'm glad that he mentioned it himself. I remember when they had that partnership agreement with Morocco on infrastructure and all of those conversations. Where did we go with it? What progress did we make with it?
Okay.
Look at Morocco. I was in Fez for over 2 weeks. Come and see facilities. Fez is like their village.
On Thursday, we'll talk about facilities, right? Let's quickly take a look at NWFL games that will be played on Wednesday across the country. Adamawa Queens will host Bayelsa Queens, who are unbeaten, and Rivers Angels and Heartland Queens will also be national. Edo Queens hosting Paysetters Queens and Ibom Angels behind closed doors because of what they did last time against Ekiti Queens. So let's take a look at other fixtures in Group B. Dana's Ladies in Lagos are hosting Ayindiyama Queens. You have Confluence and Nasarawa Amazons, Oshun Babes and Sunshine Queens, Delta Queens and Abia Angels, and Remo Stars. FC Robo will see if they can continue unbeaten run when they go to Ikene, where they will be playing Remo Stars. They're still unbeaten, Remo Stars and Bayelsa Queens are the teams that are still unbeaten in the NWFL. Quickly take a look at MPFL, right? Games played at the weekend. If we have time to quickly run through the results from that and taking a look at the top four. Kun Khalifat and Rangers International. Rangers winning by 2-1. Warrior Wolves and Katsina ended 2-0. Kano Pillars and Abia Warriors ended 1-0. Abia Warriors winning by lone goal. Bayelsa and Shooting Stars that ended in favor of Bayelsa. Benin Insurance and Economy Warriors ended 3-2. Nasarawa United and Niger Tornadoes 2-1. Nasarawa winning. Plateau United and Wiki Tourist Plateau winning by lone goal. Rivers winning by lone goal against Remo Stars, and Eimba and Barrow FC ended goalless. Eimba not having a good season at all. Top four from the MPFL. You have Rivers United leading after 21 games. They've won 11 games so far, drawing 8 and losing 2. Goal difference of 7, and overall points they've had this season out of is 41 points. Abia Warriors follow closely after 21 games. They've had 11 with same numbers with Rivers. They've drawn 4 and losing 6, and goal difference of 6. and 37 points. That's what they've had out of 21 matches. Ikorodu City also playing the same numbers of games, but they are on 35 points simply because they've lost 4 games and drawing 8. And so far in the top 4, they've had the highest numbers of draw of 8. Nasarawa United and Nasarawa United, after 10 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses, they have 35 points. And the bottom 4, Wicked Tourist, is here starting from 16. After 21 games, they're on 23 points. You have Plateau United on 23, also same numbers of point difference. It's just the goal difference of -8, while these have -5. And of course, the numbers of losses, Plateau United have lost 12 games so far this season, or more than half of what they've won. Kano Pillars are down right there, 22 points after 21 games. And Kun Khalifa, the new team, having 18 points from 21 matches. They've lost 11, and of course, goal difference of -9. I don't know if we have time to quickly talk about Anthony Joshua. We can leave it for another time because the trials for the driver continues, and of course, the fact that we use that to sign out. We'll listen to that after we sign out on the show. But Austin, just a quick one. We need to leave this studio.
I'll just quickly tell you in the UEFA Champions League, the game between Inter Milan and Arsenal is Inter Milan 1, Arsenal 2. Gabriel Jesus with the 2 goals. He scored, I think, the first one in the 10th minute, and that was Arsenal's 400th goal in the premium competition. And then Peter Sucic, what a stunner of a goal to bring Inter Milan back into it. 8 minutes later, Gabriel Jesus gave Arsenal the lead, restored Arsenal's lead. So the Gunners looking so good right there, and they might just get into the break with that lead. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakwa, and in everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Was I doing this with you? First show for the year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to end up with the NPFL.
Yeah.
Concerned about Ikorodu City, Lagos Club, and also Finidi George with Rivers United. I'm really rooting for Finidi. Go all the way and win the league. Rewrite every of the story. However Nigerians see you. I know you're a fantastic coach.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. We're going to be leaving you with pictures coming from that charge of Anthony Joshua's driver who's been driving him for 3 years. Adeni Mobolaji Kayode is 46 years old. So the case continues, but it's been adjourned till February 25th. Of course, the family you're talking about, this is not really what they want to talk about. We'll leave it with that. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night rest.
We sense the opinion of the people of the town that this man must be prosecuted, that he was overspeeding, that if it had not been a high speed, he could have been able to control the car better. This is the opinion of the public, that he should be prosecuted. For us, we are very, very lucky that our son didn't die. But taking this man to court is something we don't really see any reason for, because he has been with him for 3 years, as we know. He has been driving him, and he's been plying the road. So accident can happen anytime. The trial is not really worth it, because we think accident can happen anywhere in the world.
Prosecution requested for an adjournment, and coupled with the fact that the matter is slated for definite hearing for today, and their witnesses are in court, nothing stops the court from going on. However, in the interest of justice, based on the application of the prosecution, the matter was adjourned.
Thank you.